Okay, so if you are having a hard time deciding if you should purchase a 125 or a 140 for a beginner bike, this is the video for you. We're going to go over the pros and cons of both. So I am 5'4", I'm about 140 pounds, and this is the first bike I have ever ridden. We got it about a year ago off of Marketplace. We did a bunch of upkeeps to get it running, changed the clutch, did the brakes, did the oil change, did the carburetor, changed out the cam, increased the sprocket, or changed the sprocket from a 51 to I believe a 57, and so she's running really well. The reason we got this bike for me is because it's very inexpensive. Most of the time you can find them for under $1,000. We paid $300 for this bike. Within about a week she was running. She's never given us any trouble whatsoever. So I'm going to take you for a little closer look. So what do I like about the 125 over the 140? Honestly, she's heavier, right? This bike has definitely got some weight to her. It made me feel more comfortable having something a little bit beefier. So when I gave her some gas, I wasn't as worried as the front end coming up. So many people warned me about that, not hurting myself, put a little fear in me. But honestly, don't worry about that. When you're in first gear and you let out your clutch, the bike is just gonna go. You don't really need to even give it a lot of gas at all. Once you start going, then give it a little bit of gas, you'll be good to go. So I definitely like the weight. I like that it was older. I didn't worry about dropping it or causing any type of damage that I would have if I started riding on the 140 brand new. So that just took a lot of the stress off of me. I wasn't intimidated. I was gonna break something or hit something and cause a bunch of financial stress. So I'm about 5'4", 140 pounds. My feet pretty much are touching. So it's a little bit shorter than the 140. So I did like that. The brakes we redid. When I first got her, the rear brakes didn't work, so I only used the front brakes. They weren't really touchy. That could be different with any bike, but so I just feel like I have a lot of control. She is going to be a kickstart. Obviously the 140's not. I love that to start. It made me feel like really official kickstarting a bike. Now, not so much. So, also the speed. It's not going to just get up and go. Most of the time I went from first to second when I was just learning. I kind of just put around, go through the trails. Second gear was awesome for me. After a few weeks, I was able to go to third and fourth. Again, I didn't worry about blowing out the clutch, doing anything like that. It's not an expensive bike. It's easy to get parts for, easy to fix her. So I think that that probably was another selling point, to just take it slow. She's still not as fast as the 140, even with all the upgrades that we have made to her, but she's definitely a fun bike to ride. Also, she's going to be much louder. This thing sounds much louder than the 140. The 140, you can barely hear me riding on it. So there's pros and cons to that as well. I don't mind the louder bike, especially when we're all riding together. We can kind of hear when each other's, where we are in the property. Otherwise, when I'm on that, nobody knows I'm coming, so we usually have to just follow each other. One other thing I was going to say, let me think. The other thing that I wanted to mention is the shocks. The shocks on this thing are awful. So if you have a bad back and you're going to be riding over terrain that's going to be very, very bumpy the majority of the time, this may not be a good choice for you, because the shocks are horrendous, especially when you're obviously up in the higher gears. So that is definitely the loudness, and the shocks would be, and the kickstart would be the negatives on the 125. So let's take a closer look at her though. So we welded this to fit, beefing that up just a little bit so it doesn't sound so much like a weed whacker. Changed the clutch out. Like I said, or I don't know if I mentioned it or not, the rear brakes didn't work when we first got her, so we got those working. The front brakes we redid, so they're just not as touchy. And then the clutch used to have a really hard time letting her out. It would stall because it just didn't catch right, so we redid that. I think I just mentioned that as well. so that it catches real easy now. So I hardly ever stall out on her now. And yeah, I think he redid the carb. I can't remember what the main thing was with this bike, but we bought her from a dad whose 16-year-old daughter crashed it, and so the seat was hot pink. I didn't mind that at first. I didn't even really know what a Kawasaki was, so I thought it was pink and cute. In hindsight, we did strip it on down, change the seat, and I much prefer the just original Kawasaki look now that I know what that means. Honestly, when I first started riding, I didn't even know what this bike was called for 6 months. I didn't know the name of any motorcycle. I would have to text my husband constantly to just ask him, what do I ride again? Alrighty, so we're gonna kickstart her 1 or 2 times. She's cold, so let's see how she does. We're gonna give her a second. She is hot. It's only 95 degrees out here. Straight sunlight is baking my seat. Woo, first time. Put her away, and let's do the 140 next. The 140. This bike is super nice, super light. The shocks are absolutely phenomenal. You can take this on any terrain and you are going to have a blast. One of the newer things I like to do since I started riding is to practice standing up on this bike and to just hit the bumps and bounce with her. It's just such a fun thing. I know it's nothing major, but to a beginner, just slowly improving and learning how to do new things has been super fun for me. There's a little jump that I accidentally hit here on the property and I completely came off of this bike. So we're not at that level quite yet. So this bike is phenomenal. We got her brand new from the dealership about 3 months ago after I'd been riding for about a year. My husband wanted to get the the KX 250, so we picked that up. When I was there, I wanted something. I wasn't sure to get this 140 or there's another bike that's slightly higher. Maybe it's a 230, I believe. She was a little bit too big for me. I like to stay with the smaller bikes because I'd rather feel more comfortable and go fast versus riding bikes that are higher off the ground where you kind of just putt around. It's just not as fun for me, even though, you know, my friend had a 250, a Honda 250 I rode around. It was very nice. The shocks were great. It felt like a Cadillac, especially compared to the 125 when I was on it. Probably influenced me a little bit to want to get this bike, but it's just the higher you are, the less fun it is, personally. So anyway, back to the bike. Great brakes, starts usually, honestly, it's a cold start, so this one was probably going to fight us a little bit more than the 125 to start, or so it seems. Easy clutch shifting, obviously, super easy, going through all the gears, and the electric start, lightweight, shock, those are going to be all the benefits of this bike, and increased speed. So after about a year on the 125, I started maxing her out, got a little bored with her, and wanted to upgrade. And the cool thing about this was that they have the exact matching bike in 110, and so my son and I got matching bikes. He was previously riding on a four-wheeler, so it was his first time shifting, learning how to ride on the clutch, and I taught him how to do that in a day. If that's something that you're interested in, comment below and I can make a video on how we taught our 10-year-old, or how I taught my 10-year-old to shift through the gears, learn to shift in a clutch in a day. He did great. Yeah, so this is just a well-made bike, never going to have any issues with her. Don't really have much to add. I mean, it is what it is. It's a brand new bike. There's really not much to her other than she's super lightweight. Everything that I already said. See if she starts. subscribed, it would be amazing. If not, just have a good day. Bye.